Hey guys, Problem1701, and today I'm going to count down my top 10 favorite Star Wars games of all time. Before I get started, a couple things I want to note. One, if you're new to the channel, I mostly do lightsaber reviews here, but I am trying to expand the channel to encompass more things Star Wars. This is another video in an attempt on that. Two, check out my other channel, Another Sci-Fi Guy, where I review other sci-fi related content like these Doctor Who Classic Series Blu-ray collections, the Doctor Who new series limited edition steelbooks imported from the UK. These are imported from the UK, and other Doctor Who, Babylon 5, Star Trek, sci-fi related stuff. Don't forget to click the subscribe button and the like button. Also, before I get started, I have not played Fallen Order, so Fallen Order will not be on this list. I hear great things about it, good reviews. My friends seem to like it. I just haven't been in a mood to pick up something new. I've actually been playing two older Star Wars games lately. You'll see them both on the list. Just got done with run-throughs of both of those. Still fantastic games. But Fallen Order will not be on here, but I do plan on getting it eventually. When I do, I'll have a review up. But let's start with number 10, which may be surprising for a lot of people. It is Episode 3 for the Xbox. Excuse me. This isn't one I hear a lot of people talk about, but I actually really enjoyed it. It actually had footage from the third movie that's not in the third movie. I guess they were still editing it when the game was being done. Including a line from Dooku when he says, "Just because there are two of you, do not think you have the advantage," which actually isn't in the movie. It was edited out. But the game's really fun. You play as Obi-Wan and Anakin in third-person form. The duel at the end with them is really fun. There's even an alternate version of the duel where you can play as Anakin, and if you beat Obi-Wan, you get an alternate ending of what would have happened if Anakin had won that fight. It's pretty cool. But it's one of those, I haven't played it in over a decade, and it could be one of those, you ever have one of those games where it's really, really fun, you like it, but it's one of those for some reason you can never come back to it, or when you do come back to it, it doesn't quite have that joy like you played it before. This one could be like that. I don't know. I just know at the time it came out, I really enjoyed it and played it a lot and really liked it. Number 9 on my list is Jedi Power Battles, which came out between Episode 1 and 2. This is rare for me because I tend not to like PlayStation stuff. I have no PlayStation systems in my house. I have a very deep hatred for PlayStation systems. Very deep. I don't like them. But I used to actually have a PS1 for just a handful of games, like Mega Man X 4, 5, and 6 to play those, and Mega Man 8, and then Jedi Power Battles. That's the only reason I owned it, was for those games. And even though I can't play this one, I kind of have this just more to have it now, because this is different than my original copy. I bought this one just a couple years ago, and I bought it more to own it than to play it. But I really liked it. It was interesting, as you can see, Mace Windu with his blue lightsaber, because this was before Episode 2. And in the game, he has a blue lightsaber. Plo Koon has a yellow one, and I forget the girl's name. She has a red one, even though she's a Jedi. So it's not exactly canon, but it is a lot of fun. It's kind of it's not quite a side-scroller. It's kind of a 2.5D side-scroller, without being quite completely a side-scroller, where you can play as 5 different Jedi. It's a lot of fun. I enjoyed it, again, for its time, but I think this one would be a lot of fun to go back to today. And I definitely couldn't leave it off the list. Number 8 and 7, which I don't have either of anymore, apparently. I couldn't find them. Are pretty much interchangeable. And that's Rogue Squadron and Rogue Leader for the N64 and the GameCube, respectively. I think this is the best time flight has been done in the best way flight's been done in Star Wars, where you're flying like an X-Wing, a Y-Wing, Millennium Falcon. Anytime you're flying one of the ships in space, I don't think it's ever been done better than the Rogue series. Rogue Squadron I like a lot because I played it a lot. This was, I was really big into the 64. That's right in my teenage years. And I played Rogue Squadron a lot. I played that game all the time. By the time Rogue Leader came out, I was a little older. I was in college. I had a lot of stuff going on. I didn't have as much time to play. I still loved the game. The graphics were better. I loved being able to do the missions from the original movies. That was fun, like the Death Star run. I didn't have as much time to play it. So one of them I like more because I played it more, and the other one I like more just because it was a little bit of a better game, I think. But they're both really high on my list, and I need to figure out what happened to my copies of both of them. And then 6 and 5 on my list are also pretty much interchangeable. They're the the Jedi Knight series with Jedi Knight 2 and Jedi Knight 3, Jedi Academy, Jedi Outcast. This is another one that's kind of hard for me to pick between them. I do think I put Outcast slightly higher than Academy. Outcast, you play as Kyle Katarn, who is really the guy who stole the Death Star plans and got them to the Rebels. Make no mistake, this is real canon. And I like Kyle Katarn. He's a cool, fully realized character. This game itself is actually a sequel to Dark Forces 2 Jedi Knight, which I've never played because it's a PC game. But I like this because, like, if you're using a gun, it's in first-person mode, but as soon as you switch to your lightsaber, you switch to third-person mode. And this game had really good control over your lightsaber swings, especially for its time. And I think it holds up really well today. I think a lot of the game mechanics of this kind of evolved into the Force Unleashed series, which isn't on here, but I did like Force Unleashed, at least the Wii version. The Wii version of Force Unleashed I liked. The Xbox version I wasn't as keen on. But I still think it's done better in these, especially this one where you don't have your Jedi powers at the beginning. You have to get them back partway through the game. This one you start off with them, but you're playing as a generic character you kind of create, and he's a little bland. But the whole trying to track down somebody who's sapping locations of dark side energy is a pretty cool story. And then also I really liked the multiplayer mode where you could just go in and create a bunch of simulation bots and play against them. I played that more than the main story, especially in Jedi Outcast, to be honest. I love that. I just set up a gaming room on one of the mini planets they had. I'd unlocked all the extra characters. I'd set up some bots, and I'd just go in there and start slaying. That was a lot of fun. I actually have an old... my friends and I used to film little homemade movies where we would either do kung fu or stuff like that. And I did one in college where I time traveled with a ring I put on. And at one point, there's actually a scene where a past version of me is playing a game on the GameCube. And the game that I picked to play in that was Jedi Outcast. I actually watched that again for the first time in years recently. And it was cool to see it on there. So they're both really fun games. If you haven't seen them, you should check them out. Jedi Knight Jedi Academy is backwards compatible on the Xbox One and can be played on it. Number 4 on my list is Super Empire Strikes Back. I think this is the best of the Super Star Wars trilogy games. I do want to shout out and give an honorable mention to Super Star Wars and Super Return of the Jedi. They are fun games, good games, except for that very last stage on Return of the Jedi when you're having to escape from the Death Star from the Falcon. That is BS, pure BS. Your last name has to be some kind of... I don't know. I think your last name has to be Christ to get out of that one successfully. Because you got to have some kind of powers. I hate that stage. But this was easily the best one of the three. Now, this could be because I played this one way before I played the other two, so there could be the nostalgia vibe. This is the one I'm used to the most. Or just honestly, I think objectively it's the best one made. I love running around on Dagobah getting my force powers. A lot of the boards are designed really well. I like that Luke can alternate between his blaster and his lightsaber. And then the final battle with Darth Vader is really well done. And a lot of fun to play. Time consuming, but a lot of fun to play. So yeah, this one still holds up really well for me. It was a lot of fun. Had a good soundtrack too. And number 3 on my list is Star Wars Battlefront 2. The original one. I do want to give a shout out to the new Battlefront 2 because I do actually find it fun to play. It gets a nice honorable mention, especially with all the updates and stuff they've done for it. I like the story mode a lot. I haven't done much on the multiplayer mode of it, but I did enjoy it. But this one, I like this one better. This is, again, when I was in a spot where I was gaming a lot, and this was just the one I kept going back to. The story mode was pretty good, but I liked the Galactic Conquest. I played the Galactic Conquest a lot. The space battle sequences were done pretty well on it. The land missions were a lot of fun. I loved unlocking the various Jedi and Sith you could play as. I like the fact I could switch my camera between first person and third person mode. I usually played in third person, which is unusual for me, but yeah, it was a lot of fun. I really, really enjoyed it. It's another one, I think if I went back to it, I would really still enjoy it a lot, because there have been a couple times where I've popped back for a little bit and played it and just got right back into the groove with it. It's a lot of fun. Also backwards compatible on the Xbox One. And of course, number 2 on my list, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2, Sith Lords. This game is amazing. The sequel to the 2003 Game of the Year. This game is a lot of fun. It improves a little bit on the original in a couple ways. Like, I like the fact you can swap between weapons now. Like, you can have your primary weapons, and then you can have a secondary set of weapons you can switch to on the fly. So, like, say if I'm holding my lightsabers or swords, but something comes up and I need ranged weapons, I don't have to swap them out manually in the menu. I can just click a button, and I've got a set of ranged weapons set on backup. He just switches over to them, and I can shoot from a distance. That's nice to have. I also like the fact that if you've examined something like a footlocker or a rubble, it'll show up as empty beside it. You'll see like footlocker and in parentheses empty. So you're not accidentally maybe double checking something you've already checked before. This is a lot of fun. It's got a good story. The character you play as, who is another one of those, you just kind of create yourself. You create the face for it. You create your name. But it's really well done. He's got a good backstory where he's an exile of the Jedi who's been missing for like 5 years. I've gone through and played as a male character and a female character since they offer different dialogue options and different romance options, and I like to explore the various aspects of the game. Much like the original, the actions you take determine whether you're light side or whether you're dark side, which has different consequences. I like the fact that this one too added an influence system where your decisions gained or lost influence with your companions that traveled with you. And if you gained enough influence with them, you could unlock their latent Jedi abilities and give them Jedi powers, which was really neat and I enjoyed doing. And I really like the combat systems. I'm not usually a fan of turn-based combat. Like, I hate Final Fantasy games, for example. Legend of the Dragoon. I never got into Chrono Trigger. I just never got into those kind of turn-based games. I'm more into like Ogre Battle and Fire Emblem for turn-based. Those are the kind I like. But the way the turn-based combat's done here is it's done in real time where it doesn't pause between the combat unless you make it do so. But it plays out kind of in real time, and I actually like that. Plus I'm seeing the action happen on the screen without it, just fight, boom, fight, boom. They're running and doing stuff the whole time. Easily the best turn-based combat system I've ever seen in a video game is in both of the KOTORs. And this one's a lot of fun. I actually just replayed it recently. Went dark side, of course. I much prefer doing dark side. Because as you go dark side, your face starts looking more Sith-like, more Emperor-like. And I enjoy watching that gradual process happen. Plus, I just get to be a total prick, and it's a lot of fun. So, yeah, number 2. And then, of course, my number 1 Star Wars game of all time is, the 2003 Game of the Year. Knights of the Old Republic 1, or as we like to call KOTOR. This game's amazing. It's so much fun. It's big for its time. It would probably be considered kind of small now since it's not fully open world, but for the time it came out in 2003, it was a very large game. And it's made by BioWare, the people who later took some of their ideas that they did here and did in Jade Empire and then in the Mass Effect series. This is the same people who later did Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3. And Andromeda, but we forget about that. And I love the Mass Effect trilogy. Again, you can go light side or dark side here, which changes how the story progresses, changes some of the characters that are with you, and changes the ending. It has 2 different endings, depending on whether you go light or dark. It has a really good villain. It actually has 2 really good villains. You learn about 2 Sith Lords, Darth Revan and Darth Malak, although Darth Revan's actually died before the story starts and Darth Malak has taken his place. But you still hear a lot about Revan and see a lot about him in flashbacks, so you kind of get an idea for the character and how dangerous he was. And then Malak's just cruel. I mean, he destroys a whole planet. He's a pretty evil dude. You learn about Bastila, which has Bastila, who has great character development. She's a very powerful Jedi with a unique talent, but also a bit arrogant, kind of like Anakin. Cartho Nassi, who's kind of Han Solo-like, but also kind of his own character who's fully... But you have a lot of fully developed characters here. Mission, Zalbar, even HK-47, the crazy homicidal protocol droid. I absolutely love him. He's adorable. And then it has a really good story, and then one of the best twists in Star Wars. It has a twist that I say rivals the twist from Empire Strikes Back, which I won't ruin here. Unfortunately, a lot of people do. Keep in mind, folks, there's a lot of young people out there who haven't played this yet. Don't spoil it for them. But yeah, it's a great game. I also just replayed it recently. It's weird. I replayed Sith Lords 2 first. And then after I got done with it, I had a hankering to play this one, so I went through and played this one again. And between the two, I do like the first one a little better. This is the only Star Wars game that I'll stack up with the original trilogy. Because I do have a holy trinity of Star Wars things that I think are the best story-wise. And that's the original trilogy, the Thrawn trilogy that started the extended universe, Heir to the Empire, Dark Force Rising, Last Command, and then this game with Sith Lords just a little below it. So yeah, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, my favorite Star Wars game of all time, and I know I still need to play Fallen Order. It is on my agenda. So anyway, don't forget to click the like button. Don't forget to click the subscribe button. Check out my other channel, Another Sci-Fi Guy, for some awesome other sci-fi stuff, including some great Doctor Who stuff. And once again, as always, thank you for watching.